Okay, let's go, boys. We are live. It is your favorite show, Views from the Stands. I'm your host, Stevie B, Steve Brennan, and of course, you know I got my guys with me. I got G Mike and I got BC, and boy, we are gonna have some fun on a Wednesday night, baby. A lot of sports going on in the world out there. So, G Mike, man, I know you got a lot to talk about, man. How you feeling tonight?
Good, baby. Putting in these bets in right now because the NBA is about to get on and popping. We got some straight bets in the Telegram. Y'all already know, baby, making this money.
Absolutely. And my man that's always on the grind and on location, it's Mr. BC. How you feeling, my man?
Hey guys, I'm hanging in there.
Yeah,
I'm trying
I
to,
can imagine
man.
so, man. You've probably seen a little bit of better days, my man.
I
But anyways,
did for
guys,
sure.
like I was saying before, man, it's Views from the Stands, and we are live on TikTok. We are live on Twitter. We're live on Facebook. We're live pretty much everywhere you are, baby, and we are going to have some fun. We just asked to encourage you guys to just come out and make some comments. Join the debate. That's what makes the show a lot of fun, guys. Not only have we got that going on, but we also have a lot of stuff going on. The news is major this week, so that's going to spend a lot of time on that. We're going to talk about some Western Conference breakdown since this NBA season just started. We're also going to get to that World Series that's got going on. We had two games last night that had some craziness happening in it. But before we get to any of that stuff, we're going to go ahead and pay some bills. G-Mike, man, why don't you let the people know how we're going to get a hold of you guys? What you got going on?
Yes, sir. Guys, I run a Telegram channel where we offer sports betting slips. $5 a month to get you from anywhere from $20 to $50 to $100 a day. You'll see the link on your screen, and I'm actually putting it right now in the chat. See it pop up right there. Or if not, if you're watching the recorded episode, you see the link on your screen, or just hit me up on one of my DMs. Slide in there, and we'll get you on and popping, baby.
Absolutely. And we got a lot coming up, too, especially with so much sports going on at NBA's bets. Make sure you get with G-Mike on that one, man. Mr. BC, buddy, what else you got going on, man?
I mean, shoot, the missus and I, we got our own little small business down here in Central Florida, Brandis.media. We got your wedding, engagement, photography, videography needs. So if anybody you know is getting married or they're planning on popping that big important question, you just hit us up at Brandis.media. You can check out our packages. You can check out our portfolio, see if we fit what you're looking for. And man, if we are, hit us up, man. We'll make sure we create those memories that last a lifetime.
Always and forever, man. So like I was saying before, guys, if we could do us a favor and just go ahead and give us that, please like and subscribe. That's the only way you know. And if you want to know more what we got going on, just hit that bell. It makes it a lot easier for you. And that's what we're all about, is making it easy and fun for you. All right, boys, we have a lot to jump into, so I'm going to go ahead and get into this news. I'm going to take a deep breath in this one because we got a lot to cover in the news segment here. So, here we go. All right. DeAndre Hopkins is heading to the Kansas City Chiefs for a fifth-round pick that can turn into a fourth-round pick. Man, this is big news for the Chiefs. Although we all probably wish it was about 6 years ago, DeAndre Hopkins, but this is such a major move for the Chiefs. They're literally running with like the fourth string at this point, and somehow Patrick Mahomes is still making it work, and Andy Reid now gets a bona fide, I would say at this point in his career is probably a number two, but he still can give you number one potential out there. G-Mike, man, what's your thoughts on this trade, dude? I like it a lot for Kansas City.
I love it. I love this trade for Kansas City. They lost their wide receiver 1, lost their wide receiver 2. They lost everybody on their wide receiver squad except for Travis Kelce and Worthy, the rookie out there. But, dude, if, DeAndre Hopkins was trying to go there 2 years ago before he went to the Arizona Cardinals and then he went to the Tennessee Titans. I thought he should have been with Mahomes 2 years back and, a little better in his prime. He would have been out there running routes, catching balls and all that good stuff, getting touchdowns. But now he gets to do it with Mahomes now. They're still undefeated right now, the only undefeated team in the league right now. And Mahomes is not playing at his best yet. When it comes to December, he starts turning it up. So, hey, December's right around the corner, man. A few weeks, and we're right there. So playoff football is around the corner. Super Bowl bound is around the corner. So DeAndre Hopkins is going to a good team right now. He's going to get a lot more targets, and he's going to get a chance to prove that he's a top 25 receiver in this league.
Isn't it quite amazing you could actually say that December is right around the corner? Just on a complete side note, I cannot believe it, man. Someone just told me the other day, like, something about November. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's weeks away. And they're like, no, it's not, but yeah. Anyways, BC, man, this is huge moves right here, man. There's fantasy implications. There's NFL implications with this one, man. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I will stick more towards the NFL side of it. I'm going to let you and G-Mike handle more of the fantasy aspects of it. That's more y'all speed. But no, like I think for Kansas City, it's a great move. Again, you get a guy who is arguably, I wouldn't even say arguably, I think he is top 25 receiver in the league. So even at his age, the production has slipped off for sure. but still, you put him in this offense with this quarterback. Yes, the team has struggled a little bit again with injuries. Honestly, the defense has had to carry much of the load this season. But again,
Yeah.
you give him though, you put D Hop in that system with arguably the greatest tight end of all time. We can debate that one another day. But then also too, you get the greatest quarterback in the game today. It's a great fit for him. I would have loved to have seen him in his prime too, but I think even then, a couple years past his prime, D Hop is still a dangerous player, dangerous weapon to have.
Oh yeah.
And you pair his sure hands with Xavier Worthy's speed. I think that's just a fantastic combo to have there. And he doesn't need to have the burners anymore at this point in his career. He just needs to be that reliable target you can go to on third down. You throw it up there. He's still got the leaping ability. You know he's going to be able to go up and grab it. And that's all you need from him. You got him. You got Kelsey that kind of fit that same role there. And then again, you have Worthy that can take the top off on the offense. It's a great move by Kansas City. I'm envious, obviously, down here in Tampa Bay, which we'll talk about later on. But it's a great move for them. It's a great move for Mahomes. It gives him a bona fide number 2. And it definitely will help shore up that wide receiver depth for sure.
Yeah, and I think an underrated part of it as well is Andy Reid, man. Andy Reid has just been so consistently coming up with great plays and just being last weekend. Literally, the people that are throwing out there, you could not name it. Even their parents would be like, "Oh, my son's playing." You know, like there's nobody.
I was out there. You guys
like,
didn't even notice.
He's making it work every single time, man. And I really think that just he's going up and up and up in the pecking order of getting up there in that greatest coaches talk. If he already wasn't already in that discussion, because I swear, man, the guy just comes up with game plan after game plan.
Yep. I mean,
they lose Eric Bieniemy. Maybe that was supposed to be like the big thing. Maybe they was like coming to. Didn't even miss a step, So, like, I really think Andy Reid is absolutely amazing and has to be probably up for Coach of the Year in my opinion, as all the injuries they've lost in that one.
For sure. And I mean, if they're able to win the Super Bowl again this year, they three-peat. Honestly, it would be pretty difficult. Like it's basically him and Belichick at that point for greatest coach of all
and
time.
Belichick didn't even get it done either, so it's never happened.
So that's the one thing. It's like, do you take the guy that did the three-peat or you got to take the guy with the most rings? It's a great discussion. And again, let's not forget like a decade ago, Andy Reid was looking like he was on his way out. Like this whole dynasty that happened, people thought that he was just a perennial choker, couldn't get it done with the Eagles, was a constant failure, wasn't getting it done with the Chiefs at first. But now it's crazy what 4 or 5 years really makes a difference in a coach's in anyone's legacy in the NFL. So like you saying, hats off to Andy Reid. Like fantastic job managing this ship. And if they somehow finish this season, I don't want to jinx them, but their record right now starts with a U. It's something like that. Undefeated. Oh man, I spoiled it. But if they're able to keep that up, and on top of that three-peat, I think at that point you got to give it to him. That'd be crazy. I know we're just starting, but that's just a little bit of fantasy. But that's why I don't do fantasy as much.
And come to think that a lot of people were giving crap to Andy Reid for letting Alex Smith go and putting in Mahomes at the end of the 2015 season.
Yeah, he put it at the very last game,
16
right?
or 17.
Like two last games. He started him the 2 last games, and he did pretty decent. And people were like, okay, cool. This kid is cool and young and whatever. And he's going to be a good backup for Alex Smith. Next thing you know, offseason comes around, they trade Alex Smith, and people are like, what? What is Andy Reid doing? Has he lost his mind? Blah, blah, blah. Look at him now.
Yeah, and in the behind the scenes too, he always wanted Mahomes. And if you go back in the day, he was one of the few people. If you remember back in that draft, Mahomes was, the guy's gonna be pretty good. He has a big arm, but that's about it. And so it's just kind of cool to look back on it. But shout out to Andy Reid, man. He's become quite the coach, and he's never really not been a good guy.
Yeah, such a great guy. I will forever love his just laid back demeanor and the fact that he makes eating cheeseburgers so delightful.
Yeah. We got some other noise going on out there too, man. So Alvin Kamara signs a 2-year deal for $24.5 million to stay with the New Orleans Saints till 2026. Man, there was a bunch of talk that he possibly might be out the door. He had, their discussions about it even last year. He's had a start of a hell of a year this year. Kind of died off a little bit. We'll see how that goes, but just the whole team's kind of falling apart. You guys like this move for the Saints, man? Keeping Alvin Kamara around?
I mean, for the Saints, it's pretty good to keep him around for sure because he's a top 10 running back each and every year, fantasy-wise and just being on the field, the regular NFL regular season-wise. But is he going to stick around in New Orleans? I don't think so. I don't think this extension means anything. I think they're just
No?
trying to help him out right now, and they're trying to
Yeah.
secure him for right now and let him know, like, yo, we appreciate you right now. But
Yeah.
I don't think he stays there for long. Before the season started, I said he was going to get traded at the trade deadline. I may be wrong not getting traded at the trade deadline, but maybe next offseason he does get traded. Who knows?
I don't think it's good for his career though at all either. Like, and good for the Saints, you're keeping him around, but like, at what cost? Like, your team is it's still that middle of the pack team that just never has been the same since Drew Brees left. Like, they've been trying so hard to find that next quarterback. And yeah, they kept Kamara around, and yeah, he's gonna put up top 10 fantasy stats for sure. But if I'm him, I'm like, dude, is the money really worth playing there? Like, unless like you're just, I understand it if it's like a hometown discount, if it's like, Tyrann Mathieu, something like that for sure. Like, you love playing in front of the hometown crowd, but like, dude, what are you doing there, man? Go get yourself a ring. Like, get yourself a shot at a legacy. Like, do something.
Go to
Like,
Dallas, bro. Go to Dallas.
I mean, why not? Just like go somewhere where you have a better shot at winning than New Orleans. I mean, if Derek Carr actually lived up to the contract that he signed, yeah, I would say sure, yeah, he's in a great spot. But nah, man, like Nolan's ain't the answer. He needs to get out soon.
Well, he's one to guarantee a Super Bowl ticket, so he just makes sure he stayed in the Superdome, So, I mean, it makes sense. I get it. $24 million to be able to watch the Super Bowl. I get it. That's cool.
Yeah.
No, anyway, but shout out to New Orleans, though, honestly. If you ever get a chance to go there, New Orleans is one of my all-time favorite cities, man. It's great there. So I understand maybe you want to stick around in a great city. I think that the franchise themselves are not necessarily in a great spot. I think Dennis Allen needs to go. He should have already been gone. But yeah, I don't think that he's going to stick around very much longer in there. I could see that move happen though, G Mike. I think you might be onto something. I just don't see it happening this year, but it could also just be the fact that they're in shambles. They lose one or two more games, and the trade deadline is November 5th. So if they're going to make the move, it's going to be coming here pretty soon. So
Mayor to the Chiefs.
I don't think they do it now. If they
they got Kareem Hunt for cheaper. It's the same guy almost. I mean, I'd rather have Al Kamara, but.
Unless they're really trying to give him the extension and then use that as trade value, because of the extension, try to get more assets out of it, maybe. But at this point, if they give him the extension this late, right before the trade deadline, I don't think it happens. But maybe next offseason, maybe.
Yeah, Shedeur Sanders is going to look really nice in that Saints uniform,
Ugh. Would be that bad.
All right. Well, boys, this is where it's going to take a little bit of time because we had a whole bunch of shit happen on last week, man. All right. So I'm going to go take one of those deep breaths and let's go ahead and get into this. All right. So we got Deebo Samuel went to the hospital with pneumonia and has been released. Still don't know when he is coming back. Same team. Brandon Ayuk tears his ACL and MCL in the same game. Woo! That was not very good. Going on, we got the same Sunday, man. The Browns, Deshaun Watson ruptures his Achilles. He is done for the season, and possibly his career might be over. So that one's something we want to get into a little bit as well. Then we got down there to your boys, BC, the Tampa Bay Bucks, man. Mike Evans, fresh off of catching his 100th touchdown. Shout out to Mike Evans for being a Hall of Famer, in my opinion, first ballot. He ends up really getting messed up with his hamstring, had some hamstring issues going into it. They're doing an MRI as of today, and they're possibly going to be out until at least the Week 11 bye, according to head coach Todd Bowles. But if you didn't see it, because ESPN turned the camera, most people didn't get a chance to see it unless you were live, or unless the internet's got a good copy of it. Chris Godwin has a gruesome ankle injury and dislocates it and is most likely out for the season after having surgery today. Whew, let me go ahead and take a breath. I'm going to need you guys to take this over for a second because there was a lot to get out of there, man. G Mike, I'm going to let you go first on this one real quick because I know BC is going to have a lot to say on the Bucks on this one. But out of all of these injuries, what do you think is going to affect the team the most? And what's your just general thoughts on this one, man?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to get affected the most, for sure. They're losing their top two receivers. They're not going to be able to consistently score as they were throughout all the weeks up until these injuries. They were one of the best passing touchdown teams, the best receiving touchdown teams, the best offensive scoring touchdown teams. And right now that's going to go away. Baker's going to have to throw it to Sterling Shepard. He's going to have to throw it to Palmer. He's going to have to throw it to Otto. Otto's going to have to turn it to Travis Kelce. He's going to have to do that overnight. Going to Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns, man, like man, I feel like so many people were just praying for this to happen to Watson, and it sucks, man. It really does suck because I don't
Yeah.
like to see anybody get injured.
Yeah.
But I really think a lot of people were praying on his downfall. The way that his Achilles just popped, that it was
Yep.
horrible. He's gonna be out, and I agree with Steve that that may be his last football game ever. Even though he gonna be sitting happy with that guaranteed money, baby. It don't matter. He gonna be sitting happy with that money.
If he doesn't blow it all in massages first.
Yeah. With the Niners, again, I don't like to see anybody get injured, man. It sucks, but they're playing the Cowboys this week, baby. So we have a chance at winning, baby. We have
Easy
a chance
pickings
at
for
winning.
you.
I've already last week of getting that whooping to the Lions 47-9, bro.
Yeah,
man, like we need something, and this is that something that came to us. It sucks again. Like I wouldn't want to see anybody get injured, like, and especially Debo, what he's going through, that hits close to home right there, because that happened to someone in my family and stuff. So you know, like you never want to see anything happen like that. And then, bro, to end it all, yo, so there have been people doing some crazy witchcraft stuff, man, because there's been so many injuries this season, man. And I know you fantasy football managers know what I'm talking about, man. So many damn injuries that are going around the league, man, and it's super sad to see.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, man, that injury bug's going on like West Nile, man. That shit is that's super contagious, man. Yeah, so the one I really wanted to touch on a little bit was that Deshaun Watson one. I think that one is very interesting because the contract. You never, like we were saying before, you never want to see someone go down like that. That clearly sucks. There's nothing else really way around it. Even though he was playing absolutely, arguably the worst of any quarterbacks ever played in the history of football, and that's just not even bad mouthing the man. That is literally just statistical facts. He is having one of the absolute worst seasons ever. Through what is this, week 8, going into week 8, he only has 1 touchdown pass, which is almost unheard of in a league that constantly people are scoring. Excuse me, I take that back. Let me take that back. He has 5 touchdown passes in 8 weeks. Going into
Seems
week
like
8.
he only got 1 though.
Right.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston comes in, plays
game.
for. Now, granted, in garbage time, Jameis Winston comes in a few plays and already scores has a quarter of what Deshaun Watson has in about 8 plays. So it's not necessarily a Browns problem. It's more of a Deshaun problem. And, yeah, he's definitely eating them W's down there, man. But the contract is where it really gets interesting because the Browns have really put themselves in a really bad spot. So this contract, after doing a little bit more research, it cannot be reviewed. So Deshaun Watson is doing this contract no matter what it is. So it puts the Browns in a really precarious situation because what they're going to end up having to do is they're going to have to pay him that $172 million. It's another, I believe, $72 million next year. The following year, it's another $92 million, I believe it was, or $99 million, somewhere in that general area in there. They might be able to restructure, but it's still not going to be able to get anything. And the dead cap hit that they're going to get is going to make them at least $100 million in the hole until 2027. Having said that as well, here's where it gets really interesting with the Watson contract is that there's no roster change to it if he gets cut. That money is still there. So in a weird way, they're not going to cut him. They're just going to have him sit on the bench probably for the next 2 or 3 seasons as they draft their next quarterback and have him absorb all that money unless somebody really wants to get risky and take him as a backup of the backup. But I think his playing days are over in the NFL. They already had the bad rep going into it. And then on top of it, his play was horrible, atrocious. And that money is just, the Browns are going to have to eat it. And unfortunately, you got in the bed that you made with that one, man. Like that was just a bad move for them to make. And they're stuck with it, Granted, I would have never gave him that guaranteed contract, but Deshaun Watson at the time, it was just before the suspension. Prior to that, Deshaun Watson was pretty damn good quarterback. So I understand the want for Deshaun Watson at that point in time. But you should have never gave him that guaranteed money, and I think that goes without saying. So I think that one is very interesting because the guy might be done with his career, man. And of course, too, you never want to see Mike Evans, and I love Mike Evans, like I was saying before. I think he's first-round Hall of Famer, and Chris Godwin, unfortunately, too. BC, I'm sure you can get into a little bit more into it. Since our Bucks guy over here, but if I remember right, Chris Godwin is on his last year of his contract with the Bucks. Correct? He's going into free agency, right?
Correct. Yeah, this is the final year of his contract, and it's a gut punch. It really is because I know that, a lot of people were thinking he's going to leave in free agency. A lot of people thought Mike Evans was going to leave in free agency, and he didn't. Like this squad, this team, like this entire organization, they love playing together, and they really care about each other. And
Yeah.
Chris Godwin, outside of football, like incredible human being, incredible figure in the Tampa Bay community. And so, like, when I kid you not, like working the game, you literally felt the collective air just get sucked out of the entire stadium, seeing him on the ground, like, and you could hear him screaming as well, like when he got hurt, and it's just everybody was so hurt, uncomfortable with it, and it sucks because he's such a great player. And yes, you know obviously I'm a fan of the team. I want to see them win, but it's just he's such a great dude. He was having a career season, putting up some of the best numbers of his career. He was gonna get paid. He was gonna make that money. And I know how Jason Light is. I know how that organization is. They wanted him. They wanted to pay him and have him come back. And now to see his season cut short and now potentially him losing out on all that money that he could potentially make, it's heartbreaking. And
It is.
I know that some people look at the athletes and like, well, they make all this money and they're, going to get the best treatment, this and that. It's like they do make money, yes, but they also miss out on a lot too when they get hurt. And these guys are still having to deal with all that mental strain and anguish of I'm having a career year and now it's just going all down the drain. So it's one of those things that I hate it happening. And also I'm wondering, why is he in there with a minute left in the game? I get it. We were down 10, but everyone I knew was calling that game about halfway through the fourth quarter. Those guys should not have been there. Baker shouldn't have been in there taking shots from the pass rush. Otten shouldn't have been taking shots over the middle of the field like he's Gronkowski. Like they should have pulled a lot of their stars. Mike Evans, even. I want to win. I'm competitive as anybody out there. But if Mike Evans is still struggling with his hamstring, and he was struggling after that touchdown, like you saw him, like I saw him like walking off, like he did not look 100%. He
Yeah.
should have been yanked immediately. And then again, the same thing with Godwin in that fourth quarter. Why is he still in this game? It doesn't make a lot of sense. And if, I hate to be the doom and gloom, like put it on the head coach guy, but that does kind of fall on the head coach why you kept him in. And Bowles said that, it was a 10-point game. We want to be competitive. He was more, I noticed this is something that kind of bothers me. He was more competitive. He was doing more to win a game, a 10-point game with 1 minute left in the fourth quarter with no timeouts, than he was, this is a regular season game, than he was to win a playoff game that you were down by 8 and had 3 timeouts left. Why are you giving that game away, but then this one you're doing everything you can to win? It blows my mind.
Dude, and I want to point out the fact to the regular sports fans out there that like
Yeah.
to contradict and give all these players crap on why
Yeah.
they hold out and why they wait for their contracts extensions, why they wait for the big time deals and don't go out there and play and just go out there and play the game because you just play sports and you get paid. This is why, folks.
Yep.
Situations like this is why players
Yep.
hold out and they want to get paid and have that security blanket. Because, like he just mentioned, Godwin has a chance to earn the big bucks, but now he has a dislocated ankle. And I'm
Yep.
telling you, if you guys did not see that, his ankle was facing the other way. His foot
Yep.
was the other way. So this
Yep.
guy is going to have surgery for sure. A minor
Yep.
surgery, but he's going to have surgery.
Yep.
Yeah, he had surgery
Now
today.
exactly. So now he will not get that contract, and now
Yeah.
he has to pray to the gods that he gets a contract from the Bucks just because they feel entitled to give him that contract because they don't have to. They don't have to,
No.
but just because they feel entitled that they give him the contract because
Yeah.
now he doesn't have the years on his contract left. Now he's going to be a free agent. Now he doesn't have money, and now he has a messed up ankle that he's probably never going to be the same again.
Yeah.
And it's because he didn't have the whole contract set up. He didn't hold out for the extension because he's a man for the team. He's a man for the people, like BC has mentioned. And now look at him. So this is why, folks. This is why the players hold out for their contract extensions.
And I will say as well, I think that, like knowing Light, knowing Spytek, the entire front office with this team, they are going to take care of him because just being around this team for as long as I have, just seeing how these guys operate, they do things a little bit differently. They didn't have to sign Mike Evans to the deal they did a couple years ago, or not a couple years, like before the start of the season. He was like
Yeah.
31, 32 years old, but they know what he means to this team and the city, and they want to honor that as best they can. I'm not saying they're going to give Chris Godwin $30 million a year after injuring himself. They're not going to do that, but they're still going to try to give him
Maybe
the
10.
most that they can. Yeah, I think they might even go up a little higher than that because they know his potential. They know what he can do in this offense. And honestly, I'm hoping and praying that he can. It's a long shot, but I would love, honestly, and this situation reminds me a little bit of when Vita Vea went down with injury during the Super Bowl season. I'm not saying we're winning the Super Bowl, but I'm hoping, just for his sake, that he can come back not too soon. If it's going to be too soon, I'd rather him just stay and heal up. But if he is healing well and he's progressing well and things are going great, I would love to see him come back maybe before the end of the season if we're in the playoffs. Go there, tear it up in the postseason, not literally, like, but just like go on a absolute heater in the
Bad choice of
postseason.
words right there.
Yeah,
Bad choice
exactly.
of words.
All right, I want to see him go on an absolute run, like go on an absolute heater in the
Oh yeah,
playoffs.
we want to see him run. All right.
Yeah, man, I'm trying, man. I'm trying to stay positive, but I want to see him put up numbers though in a short amount of time, and I want to see him just absolutely prove everybody wrong because that man deserves it. I love Chris Godwin. Him and Mike Evans, they need to be Bucks for life. I don't want to see him in any other uniform.
Well, wasn't this back-to-back years for Chris Godwin? Didn't he tear something last year too?
No, last year, no, I want to say it was a couple years ago that he
Or was that
had
the
the
year
injury.
before? Because I know last year they had
That
him.
was a
They had him in the
shoulder
wrong
situation.
position. Really, he's a natural in the slot, but I think they
Oh
had him
no,
out
yeah, yeah,
wide,
yeah.
and he
He
kind
was
of
in
got
the
forgotten about. But I thought that was also a year he got injured as well. I know he got injured in the
no.
last 2 years at least.
It was two. It was like 2 or 3 years. I know. I think it was
He
like
didn't play the
2020.
first half of the season, I think.
Yeah, he was still yeah, it was 2022 he got hurt, and
It was like an
then
ACL or something, though, wasn't it?
it might have been something with his knee or one of the ligaments, but I know that he was injured 2022 towards the end, and then he sat out a little bit of 23. People were thinking he kind of rushed back a little bit. And that's another thing. Like, you have to, as a coach, as a staff, like, you have to know, okay, we got Baltimore coming in. Who are we playing the next 4 weeks? Baltimore, Atlanta, Kansas City on the road, and then San Fran at home. Of all those games, what is the most important game of that stretch for you to win? Atlanta, because you already choked away a game to them earlier this year. You're trying to at least get back to the playoffs. It starts by winning your division. If you want to do that, you have to beat Atlanta. So you need everybody healthy for that game. So, and looking at Baltimore, yes, this is the first game back after Milton. It's a big bringing the community together kind of moment. But if you lose to Baltimore, is it really that big of a deal? Does it really set you back that far? And Atlanta lost this week. So it's like,
Right.
if you lose to Baltimore, does it really set you back that far? Now, not only did you lose to Baltimore, but now you're down your two best receivers going up against probably the chance at the division. I would rather lose this. I'd rather fold this game to Baltimore, focus on winning Atlanta. Kansas City on the road, I'd be okay with, again, I'm competitive, but it's like if I had to pick a game to lose, it's going to be that one. Tough environment, best team in the league, fine. And then come back at home and face San Francisco as banged up as they are now. You're 2-2 during the toughest stretch of the season. It's just there has to be some foresight there with that, and it's just infuriating to see that your coaching staff, again, in a regular season game, you're down by 10. Less than a minute left. You got your starters in, no timeouts left. But then in a playoff game against Detroit with a shot to go to the NFC Championship game by 8 points with all your timeouts, you just quit. What are we doing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jason Light might be interested in our next little thing we got going on here, man. Cooper Kupp and the Rams. Apparently, the Rams have made it official that they are willing to trade the wideout Cooper Kupp. They are asking for, as of right now, it seemed like they were asking for a second-round pick, and they would also be willing to take on some players' contracts. But nothing said there. Puka Nacua was in an interview last night saying that he hopes that that's not true, and he wants him around because they feed off each other. They do really well together.
It's
what
very
are the
much
Rams
like Evans and Godwin.
The Rams are kind of in one of those spots now that I think they see the writing on the wall that the draft picks only worked for so long, and they need help now. Like they haven't really worked out since the Super Bowl run,
Yeah.
And they've been consistent. Stafford's not getting any younger. And unfortunately, Cooper Kupp keeps on getting hurt. But damn, when that guy is out there, he is good. Now, me personally, I can't quite figure out if Cooper Kupp is really good with Sean McVay and they're able to utilize him very well. The rumor was that Andy Reid and the Chiefs reached out. They couldn't afford to take on as much of the contract, but before they made the DeAndre Hopkins trade, I guess they tried to get Cooper Kupp. See, that's the only other place I would think that I could see him going. Otherwise, I don't really know too many other inventive coaches as them two guys are that can put Cooper Kupp in the great position. The rest of them, I don't know how. I don't know where else he would fit in. Where do you guys see him going if he's going anywhere besides the Rams?
I mean, in Tampa he would play with Liam Cohen, who used to be his coordinator in LA. So that would be a good fit there, and he would play the same spot that Chris Godwin would. That's why him and Nakua work so well together, because they have that same relationship that that Godwin and Evans have. But it would, on paper, it's a great fit because now you have a guy that can fill the spot for Godwin, and when Evans gets back and healthy too, you have those two going at it. Obviously, when Godwin comes back, that's another story. But if you're the Bucs, you're asking yourselves, is the draft capital and potentially young players you'd be trading to give up, is that worth a one-year rental? Because I don't necessarily see them trying to take on Kupp for a long-term contract because of how much he commands. And so if you do trade for Kupp as well, are you going to be able to re-sign Chris Godwin? I don't know. And that's the thing. Like, are we willing to kind of risk it all for this season? And me personally, I wasn't planning on this being the year for us to take that jump into peak in terms of like, oh, we're going to win the Super Bowl. I was more thinking along the lines of I'd be happy either with divisional round again or championship game and falling short there. I think next year, if you're the Bucs, that is the time where you want to start peaking. That's where you want to start going all in, because that's when your contract with Evans runs out. That's where, like, again, if Godwin, if you're able to restructure a deal, great. But like, to me, that's kind of the year to peak. So like, it's a really tough balancing act. On paper, I would love I would love Kupp to come to the Bucs. Again, fills that Godwin role, but is it worth all the draft capital and young players? Yeah. I don't know. I don't envy Jason Light.
What do you think, man? Where do you think he's going to end up? And where, what do you think? Do you think he's to lead the Rams, or should the Rams just, work it out with him?
They definitely should work it out with him. I don't understand why they want to trade him in the first place. Like, Puka Nacua and him working together is going to feed off each other. Like, they work well together, and the running game is really good. They're one of the best rushing offenses in the league. And now you get Cooper Kupp to come back, you get Puka Nacua to come back. Your offense is still good. Stafford is still a great quarterback. In my opinion, he could be top 10 right now, but he doesn't have the offensive pieces out there, the offensive arsenal out there to get him any points, to get him any touchdowns. So it's tough for him. But you're going to have your two receivers come back and you want to trade one of them? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. But if they do trade him, and let's say he has some sort of say in it, because with the NFL, there is no sort of say. It's not like the NBA where you have no trade clause and stuff like that you could just lift. But if he would have some sort of say in it, I would say send him to Pittsburgh. You can send him to Pittsburgh, and he's going to work well with that offense. Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, they're both showing that they can throw the ball and win games. And with that top 5 defense in the league, they need another receiver out there. George Pickens can't do it all. Firemouth is pretty good too, but he's just like really a security blanket that you're going to dump off to. You bring in Cooper Kupp that he had matched the speed of George Pickens. He matches the route running, maybe not the vertical, but he has sticky glue hands. So might as well just send him to Pittsburgh. But me, if I'm LA, man, I'm keeping that whole offense together because they're good. They got to up their defense. That's all they really got to do.
Yep. And
they just were decimated with injury this year, really. I mean, I think LA was going to be a pretty good team, actually. I think the only reason we need to consider it is the fact of that you don't have very many draft picks because I think they still are on all the other draft picks they said before. I think they just finally had their first round draft pick. Am I right? Like it was this year. So I don't know how many more deals they made to where they don't have them. So that's probably why they're trying to maybe get rid of Cooper Kupp and saying, we'll take at least a second. I don't know the last time they've actually even had a second round draft pick in God knows how long. But actually, Pittsburgh is a great idea. I honestly didn't even think of that one, man. But I think that's a pretty good idea. It doesn't Cooper Kupp kind of seem like he would be a Pittsburgh guy? Like,
100%.
I don't know, just his demeanor,
100%.
everything about him and stuff. Like, he's quiet. You don't hear much about him. He's a hard worker. He grinds.
Dog, he'll go out there. He's like probably
like
$170, like 5'10", and he goes out there. He plays like he's a linebacker on offense.
Yep.
Yeah, I honestly never even thought about a Pittsburgh because I know they've been trying to get a wide receiver. But yeah, that's a hell of a spot. I like that idea quite a bit. The only other spot I was kind of thinking, but they already made the Amari Cooper one, would have been the Bills. That would have been a cool spot for him to go as well. If they, I don't think they want to basically do that. If they really want to put themselves back in that contention, maybe make that move. And this is your all-in year. You just got Amari Cooper and Cooper Kupp on the other side. That'd be an interesting. Amari Cooper Kupp. Yeah, try and say that one.
Yeah,
Amari Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, exactly. That won't.
Amari Cooper Kupp.
I'm sure, like literally every broadcaster.
Amari Cooper Kupp.
No,
put that on a shirt.
We don't want this.
Cooper
Put that
and
on
Cooper
a shirt.
for the people.
Amari Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, there you go. The ACC. Anyways, fellas, well, that's all about it for the news, man. We're going to go ahead and jump from the news over to the Western Conference because the NBA season is in full stride, baby.
Sir. And this ain't the Western Conference, baby, but this is the Heat, baby. You know what I'm saying?
There we go. Last week, if you guys didn't get a chance to see, we go back on the last episode. We broke down the Eastern Division and we picked our winner of the East. And we'll be talking about them in a little bit. We all chose the Boston Celtics. They looked pretty damn good last night, but we'll definitely get into that one. But right now we are on the West Coast, and it's the best coast. And let me tell you, man, just looking at the graphic on the screen, if you guys can't see it, if you're not watching it at home, you're listening on the audio version, we're going to start with the Northwest Division. And all the teams in the West just all seem like they're just so much more superior right now than where the East is. But the East has
that for years.
But just looking out on paper, man, just this division here, the Northwest Division, the Oklahoma City Thunder, Minnesota Timberwolves, Utah Jazz, Denver Nuggets, Portland Trailblazers. 3 out of that 5 in those teams in there, all having a legitimate chance to win the West or win the whole thing, And there's not very many divisions. There's not very many divisions in the East to me that have stacked teams like that one. Oklahoma City is looking really damn good. Minnesota just made that deal. What do you guys think of the Minnesota Timberwolves deal? I know we talked about it for the Knicks side last week. What do you guys think of it from the Timberwolves side?
I mean, it feels kind of awkward to me.
To me, like I told you, to me, it seems like that you're trading for the same exact player, honestly. Yeah. I just think that Julius Randle is more aggressive than Karl Anthony Towns, and we saw that last night. If you guys watched the game, the New York Knicks against the Celtics, which we'll talk about later, but I just think it was the same type of trade. I don't think each team got worse or each team got better, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I will say with Minnesota side, though, with Randall, I don't think he gives you nearly the floor spacing that Cat gives you. So I would say if there was a quote unquote loser in this trade, I'd probably give it to Minnesota just because you're losing out on having a floor spacer there at the 4 or even 5.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to take a step back this season than they did last season. Obviously, they were a great team last year, but I just don't think that they're ready per se to be that top tier team in the West. They kind of choked a little bit in the playoffs last year. They went deep, but they definitely choked. I think whenever they were in there, Anthony Edwards is a hell of a talent. You guys know I don't necessarily he annoys the hell out of me, so I'm going to take a step back. It's only game 1 here. I don't know his game. I think that he thinks he's so much better than he is. That's just me.
Dude, talk about the game, dude. Talk about the game.
Yes, talk about it. We got to talk about this division first.
Talk about the game. He had 5 turnovers last night. I mean.
But who else is handling the ball though? Like
Mike Conley is one of the best point guards in the league. Why is he trying to do?
Fucking dinosaur, bro. Like, guy's out there running.
Point guards in the league.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I don't know about that.
He hasn't been an All-Star since like 2013.
Who, Mike Conley?
Yeah. I don't know about that, man. That's a bit much. Like,
I mean, I think Mike Conley's a better ball handler than I would rather have the ball in my hands with Mike Conley as a point guard than I would have Anthony Edwards trying to run the whole show.
I don't know about that. I mean, look, does Mike Conley turn the ball over as much as Ant? No, but I don't think he also makes the plays that Ant does either. Like,
there's no comparison. I'm not comparing the two athletes. I'm just saying in general, I think that they need to figure out what they're going to do with Anthony Edwards. Is Anthony Edwards going to try and do it all? And which it seems like he's trying to. I think
he doesn't. He shouldn't like that. But that's the thing with any great player; they shouldn't be having to do everything. And I've seen this. We've all seen this throughout NBA history. Anytime you've got a guy that tries to do it all, they can never win it all if they have like a 30-40% usage rate. It's absurd. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be his downfall is that I think he believes the hype in himself and that everybody that's been hyping him so much that he's going to be mistake prone this year and that he's going to try and prove it that he's the face of the league, which I personally think Wemby is the face of the league at this point, honestly, and I think he's going to be taking it over by the end of the year. We'll be talking about Wemby more than talking about Ant, but that's later on for a discussion.
Wait, but what's the conversation? Because now we shifted. Are we talking about that he's not a great player? Or are you talking about that he's the face of the league?
Okay, fine. I think he is a very good player. I don't think he's great yet.
I think he's great.
I think he's great too, and I don't think he's the face of the league 100%.
No,
LeBron is still around until LeBron retires. LeBron is the face of the league. No one else is the face of the league, in my opinion.
I don't know though. You got a 3-time MVP. Like they're almost could have won it. Well, could have been 4 in a row. And then you got, like you said, I'm not gonna say Wemby's the face of the league. He ain't there yet. Like, could he take it by the end of the year? No, I don't think so. But there's definitely a lot of other players in this league too. Like not just LeBron, but yeah, Ant has quite a few people to get through before he's the face of the league.
Yeah,
quite a few.
I don't think he'll be the face of the league. I don't even know if ever. But
I don't even.
I agree with that. I can
he's definitely top 10 player in the league though.
Yeah. Like, he's not even the best 2 guard in the league. I'll talk about who I think is the best 2 guard. He'll also be my MVP pick. Spoiler alert later on, but yeah.
No, let's hear it now. No. Let me hear that now. Who is the best 2 point? Who is the best 2 guard?
Best 2 guard, I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think so. Like he's
not a 2 guard. He's a point.
He kind of plays like a combo guard, kind of like, and that's the other thing. Like, what is a point guard? What is a shooting guard? To me, I've just always seen him as a 2 because he's the guy that's going to be taking the shots. He's the guy, he handles the ball a lot too, but he's taking the majority of the shots. Same thing like with Kyrie. Like he traditionally used to play point. Now he's shooting the ball a lot. Like that's his job. So it's one of those things. The style of basketball we have, it's so difficult now to call it like that. But I would say
the best guard. You would say the best guard then.
For me, I would say it's between like him and Luka. And and I think whichever one I would say I'd give the slight edge to Shai just because he gives you not only the scoring punch, but he also gives you defense. And that's something that I really haven't seen as much from Luka. Like the playmaking, Luka's got him for sure. But for me, I value a 2-way player more than I value the 2-way impact a little bit more than the playmaking scoring combo, just a little bit, because you got to play both sides.
Ant's a better 2-way player than Shai is.
I don't know though. I mean,
so.
Ant's
I'd
got
take Shai over Ant.
Look at the stats. When we get off here, look at the stats.
Yeah. Look, when it comes to blocking,
I brought it
up last year, and everybody was giving Ant his whole thing. He wasn't even top 3 in MVP. Like, how does this guy think he's in the top with these guys? It was Luka. It was Jokic. And Shai, SGA. He didn't make the top 5.
But Shai is playing with guys that weren't ball dominant like Karl Anthony Towns and I'm not gonna say Rudy Gobert, obviously, but Naz Reid coming off the bench, while Shai was running the show, and how BC says, he's taking most of the shots. That's why he's considered MVP, and because OKC went from a play-in team to number 2 in the West, and the West is deep.
Well, they were number 1.
Yeah, they were number 1.
That's right. They became number 1.
And then Minnesota.
But they weren't number 1 the whole time. The whole time, Minnesota was number 1.
Yeah, but they came in at the end.
Into the last 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, and Shai, he was taking the most of the shots, but also too, like there were other guys that were taking shots on that team too. It wasn't like he was just hogging the ball to himself, and he shot at a great rate. Like his efficiency was very elite, I think, for his position. And then on top of that,
but he don't shoot threes. Shoots threes. Shai shoots like one or two threes a game.
Yeah.
And shoots like 6 or 7. So it's like.
But how many does he I will say
Man,
though, how many does he
I
get
think
burned
last
on?
night he
But,
went 3 for 5, I believe it is, maybe or
yeah.
something,
he
or
went like
3 for 7 or
Yeah.
something along those lines.
But also too,
I think he
Shea,
made
as
3.
far as two-way impact, I think he's also an underrated defender as well. He was like, I want to
He
say
is. He
either
is.
first or tied for first in steals last year. So he
But he gets
definitely,
no blocks, and Ant
yeah,
does, which
yeah,
is why I think he's a better two-way player. And the
mm,
defensive rating, like when he
yeah,
covers
that's
people, people miss more shots than Shea when he's covering them. You get what I'm saying?
mm. Yeah, I feel it. But then again, if he's picking the ball, if he's pickpocketing the ball from them, not even giving the chance to shot, that's
Yeah, yeah.
another thing to consider.
That's
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's one of those things. Like, it's not for me. It's not like leaps and bounds because again, like the top 10 for the NBA, to me, it's close. It's not like this guy, like Shea is just 2 or 3 leagues ahead of Ant. Like they
Yeah.
are very neck and neck. I just give Shea the slight edge just because again, I think that his ability to pickpocket, which is what you want from your guards, and then also to his ability to put the ball in the basket. I've just valued that a little more. But
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
yeah, for sure. But yeah,
But
Northwest
I
Division
think
just
Shea's more of
sucks.
a one guard than a two guard. I think Ant is more of the two guard, which is why Mike Conley starts. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. And I mean, I think honestly nowadays the way basketball is, we don't really necessarily even have like point and shooting guards anymore.
Yeah,
You're
it's
just a
just guards,
guard,
forwards, and
forwards and
big men,
centers.
really.
Yeah, not even centers now. They're just dunkers. Like they just
Yeah,
occupy
it's
the
just
dunker
big men.
spot.
It's big men.
Yeah, that's it. So
Yeah, last year Shea was fourth in the league in scoring, and Anthony Edwards was 11 in the league in scoring. So it's not like you're splitting hairs in here. It's off by a couple points a game or so, somewhere on those areas in there.
well,
But having
defense is a
said
little
that,
different, but yeah.
I mean, when
yeah,
Shea
I don't know.
handling the ball more than Ant, of course, taking way more
Yeah,
shots.
I
Too.
mean the future is definitely
Shea
bright
has
for
some
the
shots.
two. I think they'll be going neck and neck and battling it out, especially in the same division. I mean, it's pretty impressive to
Oh
have two
yeah,
guards
it's
that
gonna
young
be a
of
great
age.
matchup.
Yeah,
OKC made it out like bandits with the trades they made. They got him from. He actually technically was on the Clippers, and the Clippers didn't
Yep.
know what they realized that they had. And
They
Oklahoma
screwed up,
City,
man.
when they were picking up all those draft picks and stuff, they got him. So that was a great move in that one. All right, so let's go ahead and pick this division. Unless there's anything else in the Northwest you guys want to talk about, do you think Denver
Man.
is back, or is this between the Timberwolves and Thunder, or is Denver still in this?
No,
I'm
Denver is
okay.
always going to be elite. You can't
Yeah.
take away from Jokic. You can't do that.
Yeah. But I think that with what they've lost, though, not just this past year, but over the last couple years, though, I would say they'll still be a dangerous team come playoff time. But I think in terms of just regular season standings, I think that it's going to be mostly between Minnesota and OKC.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and pick that division then, I guess. I'm going to go OKC. I think OKC is set up, and they have a damn good squad. I like the way they're set up with, and I really love SGA.
Yep, I agree. OKC's got Northwest Division, like you said, 1 through 5. It is almost as complete a team as you could have in the league.
Yeah, I'm gonna go OKC. I think they have more ballers than Timberwolves do. The Timberwolves got like 3, maybe 4 ballers, while OKC they got like 8 deep. So that's hard to compete with.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the Southwest Division, which has the Western Conference Finals champions, and happen to be my favorite team, the Dallas Mavericks. This division is a very interesting division here as well, man. You got the New Orleans Pelicans, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Memphis Grizzlies, San Antonio Spurs, Dallas Mavericks, Houston Rockets. It's damn near all Texas. They could have maybe just called this in the Texas South, or whatever you want to call it. But anyways, man, there's a lot of interesting dynamics with this. So Memphis, I think, is going to make a big leap, man. It's going to be time to finally see if Ja Morant can mature and hopefully play the full season, not get himself in trouble and realize, I have all this talent and I'm just wasting it by being immature. But I really love what they picked up in Zach Edey as well. So I think Memphis has been one of those quiet teams that people kind of just forgot about because of Ja Morant's been out. Let's face it. So yeah, and then also you got Zion. We'll see what he's finally going to do in New Orleans. He keeps on. I've never been a big Zion guy either. I feel like I'm a hater of everybody all like the popular guys. I feel like everybody thinks I'm a hater on it, but I just haven't
Always
been.
is.
I just don't believe in Zion either. I don't
drinking
think
the haterade.
He doesn't. I guess so, man. I'm a Florida Gators fan. I know about Gatorade, so yeah, I'll drink in the haterade. Zion hasn't done anything for me either, man. He has all kinds of. He's athletic as all hell. Can give you some highlights, but he just needs to get him. He can't stay healthy, can't stay in shape. I mean, it's flat out. I mean, how are you going to put the franchise on a guy that can't keep himself in healthy and in shape? Healthy, you know, he can't really do anything about. I just mean in shape. Has he completed a full season yet?
But when he plays, what do you think about his game?
He kind of reminds me of a throwback a little bit. He's developing a shot a little bit more, but he mainly is in the paint, 2 feet away from the basket kind of guy because he's a massive dude. I don't know how sustainable that is, especially with the new NBA. I mean, hell, look at the game last night. I don't think anybody even steps foot past 30 feet anymore. So he plays an old school mentality, plays an old school way. I don't know if it's sustainable, honestly. I don't know with the new NBA is and the speed and how they're playing, if everybody's shooting threes and he's just taking 2-foot shots, if that's really going to be the guy that's going to take them over the hump.
Yeah. Well, supposedly he lost a lot of weight. Like he was putting in work in the offseason. I think he dropped like 20 pounds. Like instead, like he usually clocks into like 280. Yeah, it's like he clocks in at like 285, but like now he's clocking in like close to like 260, somewhere around there, which I mean, shoot, for me, if you took Shaq and compressed him down, like you just took him and shrunk him, like tried to like really cram all the mass together in a smaller human being, you get Zion Williamson. He's just that massive of a human being at 6'6" or 6'7". Like it
kind of reminds me of Charles Barkley a little bit.
Yeah, that too. I just the thing of the sheer dominance though too that he has, like in terms of scoring, like he easily 65 field goal percentage, like in this league is difficult. And I think with him, again, losing the weight will help. If he can just be 255, 260, just shredded, he's good. He doesn't have to worry about a thing. And then on top of that, if he can find a way, I feel like honestly, like you're saying, like he's more of that classic style of center or that classic style of player. Just make him the center for the team and just surround him with shooters. Just surround him with guys that can just spread the floor out, and then all he has to worry about catching lobs, catching rebounds, offensive rebounds, and then just let him cook, let him dunk. Honestly,
Is that he's too short for that. That's why you can't put him at center. That's why you gotta have someone like Jonas Valanciunas out there so he can grab boards defensively and offensively. But with Zion, my thing with Zion, I agree with you both. Like he is an old school mentality player, like a Sean Kemp type. If he develops a shot, he's gonna be crazy disgusting. But right now, we have yet to see that. But we'll go off of his game right now, and his game right now, no one can cover this guy, bro.
Yeah,
this guy is crazy athletic. Yes, his weight is a problem, and his health is a problem because best availability is on the court, exactly. But when he's on the court and he is healthy, no one can guard him inside the paint. He dunks on everybody. He makes crazy athletic movements to get crazy layups, and he drops easily 20 to 25 points a game, grabs 8 rebounds, and dishes like 3 assists. And it's like, to me, that's a great player, honestly.
Yeah, and again,
if he develops a shot,
if he can develop a shot, I would totally change my attitude about how he is. Otherwise, he's a big guy that just takes 2-foot shots. I mean, you can find it. He doesn't do anything for me as far as moving the needle for them to be a championship contender. I think he's a talented player and athletic guy, but otherwise, I don't think he does anything to make them that much better.
I mean, I disagree. I think he grabs a lot of rebounds. He scores a lot in the paint that no one can cover him. If you surround him with guys like B.I. that's supposed to be taking 3-point shots and drive to the basket, and now you bring in DeJounte Murray that he can facilitate the offense and he can score at will as well, and he's a great two-way player. I think that's a great recipe for a great team. They were second seed for the first 4 weeks until B.I. got injured, and then Zion got injured. So
you need the ability. His best style is when he's playing downhill. When he can when he's at the dunker spot and he's catching lobs, or get him going downhill on the alley-oops, get him going on some pick and rolls, get him again. This is where developing the shot is so good. Imagine he's at the 3-point line. You got to have a defender come up and respect him because he can shoot. Let him drive, wide open lane. He's going full head of steam, 260, just coming in like full head of steam. It's over. You're not
like
stopping
LeBron his first 5 years.
Yeah, except he's not as tall, but he is every bit as big, if not bigger. So it's like it's one of those things. A lower center of gravity, he is going to be more difficult to push and move around because of that. So is scary.
Well, Zion actually, so if you want to know, just to put it in perspective, last year's stats, 22.9 points a game. That's 20th in the league. 5.8 rebounds. That's 53rd in the league. 5 assists. That's 40th in the league. 57% shooting, which is 14th in the league. And according to ESPN, he played 70 games last year. So that was, he actually, I guess, did make it all the way through the year. I didn't think he did last year. Surprise, surprise. Or no, he played 70 games. He was out 12
games, baby. Gotta watch the games,
Respectful,
baby.
man.
I mean, but still, does those numbers go off? I mean, so he missed 12 games. I mean, LeBron misses 20 games and still is averaging better than that, So, I mean, this kid is.
But LeBron's a better NBA player than Zion is. Like, let's be real.
So what's Zion's claim to fame then? What does he do good?
He's athletic. He grabs boards. He dunks and makes layups on anybody. No one can cover him.
Yeah.
He drops literally 27 and 3 a game. That's good.
He averaged 22.9 and let's see, 5.8 rebounds. So I mean,
that's still good though.
And he does that. And
he's good for 58th in the league for rebounds, and that's supposed to be his thing.
Yeah, but and he does need to work on that. But as far as just sticking with the scoring, though, he can give you 20, 25 a night, anywhere from upper 50s to low 60s in terms of efficiency. Like, that is a very dangerous player to have, a very dangerous tool to have in the toolbox. He does need to work, and I think this is where losing the weight will help. You give him more elevation, he's able to get those rebounds that he wasn't able to get before. He's also able to keep up on defense better than he was able to before, especially now guarding like 4s and 5s. Like, I think that losing, the key to him is keeping this weight off, making sure he's in the best shape of his life, and I think that the results are going to speak for themselves.
Yep, and staying on the court. Definitely.
All right, well, then we also got the San Antonio Spurs, who got I think
opposite player.
What's that?
I said they have the exact opposite player, tall and lanky.
And so, speaking of
short and thick, tall and lanky.
Speaking of Victor Wembanyama, the rumor is that he gained a lot of muscle and a lot of weight coming in this year. So he's looking a hell of a lot different apparently this year. I haven't got a chance to see any Spurs game. They're playing tomorrow. I didn't really watch too much of the preseason, but apparently he's looking pretty good, pretty shredded. I think this guy is the absolute, I don't even know I think he's already touching the sky because he's that damn big. If you get what I mean. But having said that, man, I just got a lot of faith in Victor Wembanyama. I like his attitude. I think that the fact of he wants to win, and he, for such a young age, he is very mature and wants to be a baller, man. I really like his game. I think he should have won Defensive Player of the Year last year. And so we're going to be talking about awards later on in a little bit, not too far from now. But yeah, I love Victor Wembanyama's game. Unfortunately for him, it's going to be a couple of years, I think, before the Spurs are actually truly dominant. I think he can single-handedly take over a lot of games, though. I really like his game. I think Chris Paul going there is one of the best moves they could have made. And it's not even the fact of, like, Chris Paul is, he's another Mike Conley, like he's just a for sure point guard, but the things that he can teach him and the, just how he sees the game, I think could go a long way for a young player like Victor, man. What do you guys think about the Spurs this year?
I mean, at this point,
Chris Paul's way better than Mike Conley.
I mean, at this point in his career,
man, you really don't like Mike Conley, man.
Bro, Mike Conley was an all-star for like 1 year. Chris Paul has been an all-star like 13 times.
Chris Paul's like one of the greatest point guards of all time.
He's our first ballot Hall of Famer.
I mean, you could argue that maybe I think at this point, maybe you could argue at this point in their careers, they're both kind of similar. They're not going to be that lead ball handler anymore. They're going to be that veteran presence. That's fine. But yeah, Wemby for sure is going to take steps this year. And I'm torn on whether or not he's gonna. I'm torn on whether or not he should have won the award last. I mean, I think no, screw that. He should have won it last year. But just the way the media and everybody votes on the awards, it's kind of a flawed system, but it is what it is. But no, he's gonna take more steps. I'm excited to see what beefier Wemby looks like. Hopefully, he doesn't get bullied as much. Honestly, just quick fun thought: how crazy of a team up of Zion and Wemby would be. Like, that would be absolutely insane. You could not have two of the most polar opposite players, but I would love it. They're like the two freakiest specimens in the league on the same team. I would love it. But yeah, San Antonio is going to have a good year. They're gonna take some steps for sure. I don't know if that'll be enough for playoff contention, but I think that they'll definitely continue to be on the up and up for sure.
Yeah, no, they're not getting into playoffs for nothing. But I do like the fact that CP3 is there with Wemby. He's going to teach him a lot. Wemby's going to learn a lot from him. He's going to he's going to take like the next 5 levels up and becoming an NBA professional player. And he's gonna do wonders with Chris Paul, man. That pick and roll game, though, that pick and roll game is gonna be serious, bro. Wemby, all you gotta do is go to the 3 or go to the basket. One or the other, you're getting the ball and you're gonna make the shot, bro.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to say, wasn't it Bam in the preseason? I think it was whenever they threw that alley oop or something like that, and he just kind of like moved out the way. I want to say it was against Miami or something. They got that first like alley oop that he got, and he was like, "Damn, this dude is big" or something. He was just talking about how big he was. It was a pretty funny little clip. I can't remember exactly who it was. Might have been Bam, might have been somebody else, but. Yeah, San Antonio, I think, is like maybe 1, maybe 2 seasons away from being back to the old Spurs. But they got a great piece in Victor Wembanyama, and I'm glad that he's had better fates than the other couple of French players that came out, man, because they didn't look very good or very ready, man. So Wemby looks pretty damn good. So we got my Dallas Mavericks, man. They made a big move in the offseason. They got Klay Thompson. They did lose Derrick Jones Jr., which I was disappointed in because he was a big factor in them getting to the finals last year. After that major trade they did. I love the Klay Thompson trade. Kind of like how we were talking about DeAndre Hopkins. I do wish this was also, 3 to 4 years ago, Klay. But having said that, man, I just want to see Klay shoot. I think this is going to open up the space for Dallas a lot. Now you're going to have you're going to have to still respect Klay from the 3. And I hope that's all he does, man. I don't want to see Klay doing much of anything. Don't get hurt. Just shoot the damn ball, buddy. That's all I need you to do. Don't guard. I don't even care to guard anybody. Just shoot threes, man. That is literally all you're here for. It's to put up points. Give me 15 to 16 points a game, and that's all we need from Klay Thompson, honestly. If he can defend, because that's going to be Dallas's biggest weakness. And as a Mavs fan, I am very nervous about the defense. It's few and far from between here, man.
Well, and I think the position that they have him set up in, like he'd play the small forward, in my opinion. So, like, I don't think you necessarily have to worry about him having to guard the quick guards anymore. You can just, he's a bit bigger. He's about like 6'7", about 205, 210. So he can step out and guard the 3 for sure. And then I could we honestly say like this might be the best wing trio in the league? Like, it's pretty scary. Like you said, the offense is going to be scary. The defense. Yeah, offense is gonna be great. Defense, but that's never been Dallas's like forte. That's never been what they've relied on. So, you did the things you had to do to make what you're great at even greater. And I think Klay will still be able to do enough on defense because he's not going to be asked to do as much on offense. I still think he can contribute enough at a solid level to where he's not a net negative on defense.
I don't know, man. A lot of people were giving Luka crap for not playing defense and being a little chubby and going out there. And he went on the offseason. He lost some weight, man. He's looking slim. So what if he's taking defense way more seriously now?
Yeah.
This guy becomes a great defender. That would be
awesome
for Dallas, man, because like Steve said, Derrick Jones Jr. is out of there. So who's got to step up on defense is PJ Washington. And even though PJ Washington's defense is pretty good, but now he's going to play more minutes. So now we're going to see if he can sustain that throughout the whole game while still putting up in the 3-point corner and try to hit 3-point shots. Obviously, Klay comes in, he's going to take less shots, 100%, but he's still going to have to put up at least 2 or 3 a game. And if he could hit those consistently while stopping the best player on the other team, because he's going to cover the best player, dude, it's a recipe for success out there, man. And if he's actually out there playing defense, man, 6'10" guarding a 6'2" guard, 6'3" guard, it's going to be a little faster than you. But once he gets into the paint, you could block him. So it'll be pretty good.
And also, too, nobody has shown the ability to heat up over the course of a single quarter, even a single half, like Klay Thompson. So it's one of those things like you just need him to. You would need him to get hot like maybe once or twice the whole season, but when he does, like, just dish it out, boom, boom, boom. He's gonna cook. But if Luka is able to translate the physique change to the defensive end, I think my MVP pick is going to be in trouble. Just spoilers ahead for that. But yeah, a slimmer, leaner, meaner Luka, especially on the defensive end, is going to be terrible for the rest of the league.
Terrible for the league.
Yeah, and I think going to that finals, I think made him grow up a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And I think in the NBA, of more than most sports, baseball might be up there. I know NFL just because it's such a grown man sport, but I really think the NBA maturity matters. And I think that you can easily throw a game. And Luka definitely did not have the greatest of finals. He still was amazing, but his demeanor, how he was acting, he looked like a crybaby out there most of the time. It was almost embarrassing being a Luka and a Dallas fan sometimes. And afterwards, they set him down, they talked to him, and you can see the difference in him towards the end of the game. You see him making jokes about yelling at the ref. But so I really think that going to the finals, getting that experience, getting that out the way, getting it under your belt at such a young age is going to help him out in his career leaps and bounds. And I really have a lot of high hopes for them. So yeah, I'm going with this in this division. I'm going with Dallas again to win this division. Houston, you guys got any thoughts on Houston?
That's my no. That's my sleeper team right there. They're a young team that
Houston.
They're a young team that works together well. The second half of the season, they're doing really well. They score at will. They hustle. They're great hustle players on that squad. I like the fact that Fred VanVleet now has a little chemistry with that squad after 1 year. Now he's going to have a more leadership role, even though he already had it, but now he has to really grow into it, and he's going to be leading the way there. I think that's going to be my sleeper team for the play-in, and they actually win the play-in game and actually become the 8th or 7th seed in the Western Conference.
See, if I'm picking a sleeper team from like the West, I'm actually going to lean Memphis just because, again, you're getting Ja back. You're getting, I think as well as Zach Edey, the addition, that's going to be a very underrated move, especially like draft pick. I think that he's going to fit in almost flawlessly with the way this team is set up because now you've got Jaren Jackson back at the 4. Like, I think that having those two together, it's going to be a defensive nightmare for any team, especially you try to come in the paint. And then again, Triple J is like so great at being able to step out and switch as well. It's they're going to be deadly. But I do think at the end of the day, the Southwest Division does run through Dallas still.
Yeah, no.
By the way, Mike Conley averaged 11.4 points a game. So show some love, damn it.
11.4 points per game.
11.4 points a game. 2
That's not good at all. That's not good at all.
2.9 rebounds when your boy Anthony Ant only averaged 5.8. So, I mean, the guy's played for 30-some years.
Double.
Averaging 3 more rebounds.
What are you trying to say there? Because it's not helping your argument. He's
not double the height, but he's averaging double the boards.
Mike Conley's awesome, man. Give Mike Conley some love.
Mike Conley is awesome. I'm not taking that away from him. I'm just saying that you said he was one of the best point guards in the league.
Yeah.
I'm saying
we're calling you out on that one, man.
He's a great point guard. I would love to have him as a point guard.
He's a good point guard, but he's not one of the best point guards.
Solid to good.
I mean, it's getting taken out of context. I mean, obviously, you can name off 15 other point guards you'd rather have better. I'm saying as a true point guard, though, I think
you
Mike Conley's a great
one of the
guard.
best point guards, and that means that he should be an all-star.
Tell us in the
he has to be an all-star, no?
Tell us in the comments section, what's your metric for being
What does that mean? What does it mean when you say, fans out there, what does it mean when you say one of the best point guards? Tell me what that means, please.
And tell us how cocky Steve is for saying. I'm just kidding.
No, I'm going to get eaten alive for this, and I can already
I just think
I can already feel it because it's going to get taken completely out of context, but it's all good.
Let it. The internet always wins.
I truly believe that you meant to say it another way, but what you said was he's one of the best point guards in the league, dude. Like,
I know we got to roast you on that one, man. You got to hold the L on that one.
It happens. We all get roasted. Look at me last week with the Cowboys.
Yeah, man.
It's fine. I like Mike Conley. I mean,
I like Mike Conley too. I like Mike Conley too. It didn't say I didn't like him.
Well, we got one more division out here in the West. We got the Pacific Division that's consisting of the Los Angeles Lakers, Sacramento Kings. What's got?
Real quick, I was gonna say this before we went into that. I agree with BC about the Memphis Grizzlies, but do we really think they're a sleeper team? Because the Grizzlies were great. It's just John Morant decided to show his gun on the live cam, and they kicked him out for a while. They suspended him. But do we really think they're a sleeper team, or do we think they're a great team like they were for the past few years?
I think that a lot of people will sleep on them because I think that they're just gonna think Ja's gonna be immature and he's just gonna do something to shoot himself in the foot. No pun intended there. But like I think that honestly, like honestly though, I feel like that's a lot of people are just gonna think he's still gonna be immature. It's gonna screw the team over. I don't think a lot of people believe in his ability to rise up and to, take that step forward and to show maturity and to just put the past behind him and move on. I think differently, but I also like to think I'm a little bit more positive than most, but we'll see.
Well, to that case in point, I do believe that he matured and he missed the
Yeah,
game and he wanted to be a part of the game
I
truly, and
agree.
he does not want to be away from the game anymore. And
Yep,
you surround yourself with people that do some crazy idiotic things that shouldn't be seen.
yep,
You got to separate yourself from those people. And I've heard
yep.
rumors that he has actually that he
Good.
has separated himself. So I
Yeah.
think he
Right.
is gonna be more mature, and bro, he's gonna come out. No pun intended. He's gonna come out shooting. He's gonna come out
I
shooting.
knew you were gonna say something like that. But yeah, life lessons with G Mike right here, man. Don't
You know what I'm
surround
saying?
yourselves with good people, kids. Surround yourselves with
Exactly.
good people.
Exactly.
And don't say Mike Conley is a great point guard. That'll get you
Not
a long
around
way in
us.
life.
That's not what you said. That's not what you said.
We're
All
still
right,
not
so
moving on.
we
We
got
gotta
we
let
got
it
the
go, man.
we got the Pacific Division, man. We got the Los Angeles Lakers, the Sacramento Kings, the Los Angeles Clippers, Golden State Warriors, and Phoenix Suns. This is a pretty wild division here too, man. I feel like the Kings have just
Is
been
it though?
scratching at this to try to take over this top spot because the Suns have been constantly been injured. Since they made those moves, it just seemed like it hasn't worked out. And Golden State is just not what they used to be, but damn, Golden State is still good, and Steph Curry is still playing out of his mind right now. What do you guys think of this division here, man? This is a really difficult one to, I think, kind of pick out of here.
Well, last season, and I would say the season before too, but this whole division has no defense and no depth. Okay.
Okay,
And maybe
I
this
disagree
year it'll
little
be a
bit.
little bit different. It'll be a little bit different this year, maybe. But that's what it was the past 2 seasons. And I
Yeah.
hope it changes, because the Lakers, they look really great yesterday. And Anthony Davis has shown that when he's healthy, he's the best big man out there on the floor. And there's no debate
Yep.
about that. And
Yep.
the Sacramento Kings, they bring in DeMar DeRozan, a little veteran leadership out there that they actually needed, but they have no defense. Their perimeter defense is pretty sorry. So let's see how they're going to do this season. Los
Yep.
Angeles Clippers, they lose Paul George, and they're a little bit kind of the same team. Now James Harden has to play more of a role. Now you're going to see him take more shots. He's going to play make a little more and stuff like that. And we don't know what's up with Kawhi Leonard. That guy is a part-time basketball player getting paid millions of dollars to not be on the court. And then the Golden State Warriors, they lose Klay Thompson. So now Jonathan Kuminga has to step up his role. Draymond Green still doesn't have an offensive game, which sucks for them. Steph Curry, he's already old, so he's going to have to prove that he could still really ball with these guys, and he showed it in the Olympics, so I'm not taking that away from him, but now it's an 82-game season. It's going to be different. And then the Phoenix Suns have no depth. They haven't had depth for a while. We got to see what's up with Bradley Beal, if he's going to turn into the old Bradley Beal or be the same as last season when he came back from the injury.
Yep.
And they got no defense as well. So this whole Pacific Division to me just screams no defense, no depth.
Turnstiles.
Specifically,
That's all. Yeah, I mean, I will say I think the best defense coming out of this division is going to be LA for sure because you got Anthony Davis, like G Mike said, he's the best big man in the league when he's on that floor. He's at his peak. And honestly, just to make this one quick, I think it's going to be just a 2-team race for this division. It's going to be Sacramento. It's going to be LA. And I think, honestly, just because of the veteran leadership that LA has, I think that's going to be enough for them to win this division. And I think as much as Sacramento tries to beat Big Brother down south in LA, like they tried it back in 2001, didn't happen, obviously falling to them in the Western Conference Finals. I don't think it's going to happen this time either. I think that LA is going to, show again, like, their veteran leadership, their veteran pedigree is going to be enough to, carry them over the top in this division. The Clippers, they're going to try. I just don't see Kawhi being healthy enough. I don't see Harden, at this stage in his career being able to do enough to carry this team. And then as sad as it is to say, I hate saying this, but I don't see the Warriors as a threat anymore. Like I haven't seen them as a threat for a couple of years, but Steph is still going to ball out. He's still going to do his thing. It just sucks that there's nothing much more they're going to be able to do right now with him on this team, because he deserves better than this. And then Phoenix, I don't even. I'm not even worried about them.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, that's, I don't think that this division in particular in the West really is just, it's so
Definitely
up
the
and down,
weakest.
and it could go so many different directions here. On paper, Phoenix should probably win it just because you have your top three, the top three players they have there. But I kind of like Sacramento. I think Sacramento is going to make that a little bit of a leap. I think San Francisco, Sacramento is going to win the Pacific. I like Fox and Sabonis, and So, what do you guys think? Who you guys picking on for the Pacific? Such a hard word.
Pacific. Nah, like I said, I think it's LA. LA's gonna win it, and then Sacramento will be a close two. But I give it to LA the nod.
Yeah, I got the Lakers too. I think
Lakers. Safe pick. Makes sense.
They got a little more depth than the rest of the teams, but even then they're kind of a little shaky. Braun's gonna be Braun. Reeves showed me yesterday that he stepped up a little bit, and he's gonna take more shots and be more aggressive. And then D'Lo, we got to see what's up with him because he's always inconsistent. But if Anthony Davis stays healthy, the Lakers are definitely taking this division.
All right. Well, just as a slight recap for the Northwest, we all had the Thunder. For the Southwest, I believe we all went Dallas.
Yep.
And for the Pacific, I'm taking the Kings, and the rest of you guys are taking the Lakers. So now we get the divisions done. Let's go ahead and go for all of them, man. The Western Conference champion is going to be my Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks, I think, are going to redo it again. It's going to be a very close race. I think that the finals are going to be the Thunder and the Mavericks. I think that Luka is going to have a hell of a year and play out of his mind, and that going to the finals really helped him out. BC, what's your pick, man, for the West?
I got OKC winning this one. I think that Shea is going to play out of his mind, and I think that combined with just how deep this team is, I think that no other team in the Western Conference is going to be able to stand up to OKC. The West is going to run through them.
I love that pick, man. I was going to go OKC, but George kind of convinced me a little bit.
You're a homer, man. I got to tip the hat to you.
I'm going to go the Mavericks. I think Jason Kidd is going to put a tougher defensive mentality on this whole squad, and especially on his leader, Luka Doncic. And then bringing in Klay Thompson, which was something that you guys lacked throughout the playoffs on three-point shooting and another consistent scorer next to Kyrie and Luka. He's going to help with that. He'll probably drive 15 points per game, and they're going to go back to the finals for sure.
I like it. I'm loving it. So that's our pick for the West, man. We got 2 for the Mavs and 1 for the Thunder, man. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go more of a rapid fire here for the NBA awards here. We're going to go ahead and start at the top with the MVP. Just go a little bit behind the scenes. George and I, we talked a little bit, and we're picking the actual same person for the MVP, and it is going to be our guy that's going to be taking the West, Mr. Luka Doncic, man. Luka Doncic also was already averaging about 33.8 points a game last year. Just playing lights out basketball, man. The assists, the playmaking. Luka can do it all except defend. Defending, he needs to step up on and staying in better shape. I think if he loses some of that pudge, the baby pudge that he seems to always carry around with him, he's going to be unstoppable, man. G-Mike, man, what's your thoughts on our MVP pick?
Yeah, no, you said it well. I don't really have to put that much, but I just want to also add the maturity. I think the maturity of what he went through in the playoffs, getting to the NBA Finals, and seeing what it is needed to get to the NBA Finals, and seeing what kind of leader you need to be. I think he learned that, and now he's going to do that through a whole 82-game season, and then go through the playoffs, Western Conference Finals, NBA Finals. I think he'll get the MVP for sure.
Yeah, and also, I don't think he can go under unsaid about bring Klay Thompson's championship pedigree as well. Granted, Klay Thompson is not the Klay Thompson that he used to be, but he's been in some of the biggest games in the NBA. He's broken records. He's had himself some amazing games. He has the rings to prove it. So bringing him in along with Kyrie, which Kyrie seems like he also took a complete change of pace and kind of change of life going to Dallas, man. He seems like he's actually having fun. He seems like a great team guy. He just seems like he's excited and happy to be playing. Probably the most excited I've seen him play since he was in Cleveland when they were winning, So I'm really liking that one as well. And I also I'm hoping, as you can see on the screen over there, that Daniel Gafford, man, I hope he can have a big season here too, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our MVP pick is going to be Luka Doncic. All right, Mr. BC, you're up next, my man. Who is going to be your MVP pick?
I mean, I hope I get a highlight package here to show off my. Oh, there it is. All right, I appreciate it. All right, all right. I was about to say I'm not getting cheated out of my own highlight reel here. Nah, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, man. I feel like just again like we talked about last year, like he was close to winning the MVP. I think his two-way impact is so underrated, and I think in addition to that, like he's just such a great. He's a great scorer, can score from basically anywhere. I know we talked a little bit about the outside game. He needs to develop a little bit more, but I think he will, and he'll take that step and really just prove that he's a three-level scorer on offense. And then defensively, he's a pickpocket. He's able to just work his way in. He's not afraid to cut off passing lanes. He's not afraid to guard one-on-one. He is just, I think, the best two-way player in the league. I know it's close, but I give him that slight edge. And I think as well, what we're going to see with the MVP is usually it's a top 2 or 3 seed, or top 2 or 3 seed is usually the best player on those teams that wins the MVP award most times. And I again, you got OKC that I think is going to win the West. I think they're going to have the number 1 seed in the regular season. And just that whole entire combination of players that they all play together. They're all hungry. They're all going to want to take that next step. And I think Shai's got it in him as well. I think that that close taste of the MVP last year is going to push him over the top this year. And I think OKC as well. They're going to go all the way. I think they'll take kind of like that Bostonian leap that the Celtics took last year. So SGA, man, I got to give it to him.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a great pick. I actually was going to be thinking that one as well. I was really high on OKC this year, but doing a little bit more thinking into it, I really think that Luka's going to make that next step up. So we'll go ahead and recap it real quick. George and I both have Luka Doncic winning the MVP as well, and we have BC taking the MVP pick of SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Yeah. All right, so our next one is going to be the Defensive Player of the Year. Since I'm up here first, I'm going to go ahead and first, and I already alluded to it as well. I think it's going to be Victor Wembanyama. I think Victor Wembanyama is going to step up major this year. I almost considered making him the MVP. I just have a lot of faith in what he's going to do this year, especially they're coming in thinking that he put on some weight. Putting on some weight, getting a little bit of muscle to him. I think he's already got the defensive prowess, and I think he's going to have one hell of a year. I think he should have already won it last year, and so I'm going to Victor Wembanyama.
I agree 100%. I think that he got robbed of it. I know Rudy Gobert is a great defensive player, and they usually vote based on, again, top defense in the league, best player on the top defense. But I think, honestly, just what he did for that Spurs team, the way he was able to drag them to kind of middle-of-the-pack kind of defense. Without him, they would be absolutely god-awful. And just not only does he give you the blocks in the paint, but he can also switch out on the perimeter. He can guard guards. He can be a little bit of a pickpocket too, getting steals. He really is the best, I would say, just overall defender, not just because of what he does in the paint, but just what he brings from versatility, switching, everything. He is the modern defender in a nutshell.
Yeah, man. I definitely agree that Wemby was robbed last year, and he'll definitely be up there to get it. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets it, but I'm gonna be biased here, and I'm gonna say Bam, dog, because so many years that they just robbed him from him, bro. Yeah. In my opinion, and I think he can cover 1 through 5. He can get steals, he can get blocks. His defensive rating against top players in the league, all-star players in the league, MVP front runners in the league. He stops them. He stops them from scoring. He stops them from dominating, and he should have gotten a Defensive Player of the Year, and at least got to give him one, man. At least.
Yeah. I like it. Great picks. Great picks. All right, so now we're going to move on to most improved player. And I'm not sure how you can go with this one, but I'm going to go with Derek White. I think Derek White's going to step up even more than he did last year. Derek White was a great player last year. They were talking about it last night in the game as well, that they want him to start shooting more threes. He had a hell of a three-point percentage, and he was lights out in the playoffs. I think that's going to carry over, and you can already see it in the Boston Celtics game last night. So I'm going to go Derek White for most improved. Granted, I understand that he already is a great player. I just think he's going to take a step up.
Yeah. For my most improved, I'm gonna show my homer bias a little bit. I'm gonna go with Franz Wagner with the Magic. Last year he took a step last year. He's been taking steps ever since his rookie season. He put up solid numbers, about 18, like 3-3, 18, 4-3, solid numbers, but also too on awful efficiency, especially from three, shooting, I believe, 30 or just under 30. I think this year, I think he's worked on his shot a lot more in the offseason. I think that overall, he's going to take that next step and be kind of like that Swiss Army knife three that I think the Magic envisioned for him. I see him getting, around 20-ish points, getting about 5 and 5. But where we're going to really see him improve on is going to be his efficiency. I could see him getting close to a 50, 40, 90. Not saying exactly those numbers, but, anywhere from about 49 to 50% from the field, but then 37, 38, even 40% from three. And then obviously the free throws as well are going to catch up. That, to me, I think that's what will make him the most improved. Not necessarily because of the per game numbers are going to go up tremendously, but I think that his efficiency is just going to shoot through the roof this year.
I'm gonna go Lonzo Ball, man. He hasn't played in 2 years, and when he was playing with the Bulls, they were the second seed, or if not the third seed in the East, until he got injured. I think he's gonna come back, dropping 15 points per game, dishing out 8 assists per game, and grabbing like 4 or 5 rebounds per game. He's gonna be a great impact for that Chicago offense. His defense is pretty good as well, but I think he still
Oh,
has to
yeah.
step up there. He still has to step up there, in my opinion. But he's gonna come back after not playing for 2 years on a bum knee, and he's gonna show out for the Bulls out there.
Interesting pick. Interesting pick. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to move on to the sixth man of the year. I'm going to go with my Dallas Mavericks. I'm going to go with Derek Lively Jr., man. I think that he is going to be coming off the bench. I was kind of surprised, but after the way he performed last year. But you got Gafford, who I think is a little bit more established on the defense. But I think Derek's going to have a hell of a year coming off the bench, man. He was an electric player whenever he came off the bench last year. He even got some starts in there. He can run. He's almost already a heart and soul of the team. The team's been ranting and raving about how well he's already adapted to his in his rookie year, and has already almost became one of the leaders of the team. So I'm going to go the backup center for the Mavs, Derek Lively Jr.
I'm going to go with for mine, and I think George and I are going to share this one. Nas Reed of Minnesota, guy that definitely I think you could argue should have earned it like last year. He's a guy that for me, he honestly he could be in the starting lineup right now in Minnesota. He's that good. You could argue with with Randall, or even potentially with with Rudy Gobert as well, taking a few steps back. Just Nas Reed, what he's able to give you from that center spot, I think he gives you more offensive production than Gobert, and he gives you better defensive abilities than Randall. So I think the fact that he's going to just continue to develop his skill set, and I think as well he's going to get either the same amount or maybe even more minutes coming off the bench, just again depending on how well both the two previously mentioned players play. I think that it's going to be a lock for him.
Yeah, definitely. You said it great right there. And I just want to mention how Carl Anthony Towns is out of there. So now Nas Reed has to fill in more of a role, minutes wise and scoring wise and rebounding wise. So I think he's going to step up there, and he's going to have a great season.
Yeah, I agree. He looked great in the playoffs last year too. That's a great pick in there. All right, so we are up to the rookie of the year, and I think BC and I are on the same page with this one. I'm going to go Zach Edey. I like Zach Edey a lot. He's actually looked a hell of a lot better than I thought he was going to in the preseason. He looks like he's transitioning a lot better. He was already with a 2-time player of the year, so he's already got the college stats. He's a big dude, and he can run the floor better than I think people expected. So I think Zach Edey's going to have one hell of a year in Memphis.
I agree, and I think that the system, I think what makes his situation so much different than a lot of the other rookies. And I think honestly, just looking at this rookie class, it's not going to be on paper, it doesn't, nobody really jumps out at you. Nobody really like hit. Yeah. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, like, shoot, I like Tristan Da Silva in Orlando. Obviously I love Zach Edey with Memphis, but there's not really that one player that just screamed, bam, generational talent, bam, like superstar. A lot of these guys, a lot of people thought were just going to kind of be like good role players. And I think of all those guys, since it's that close, just again, I think what'll determine rookie of the year this year is going to be your situation and fit. And I don't think there's a better situation or fit for any rookie coming into the league than Zach Edey. Like we said, he's going to be on one of the better defensive teams. He's going to be able to just really focus on anchoring the paint. And also, too, he's going to be able to do some playmaking as well from the post as well. That's going to be an underrated aspect of his game that I think Memphis will thrive off of. So I feel like he's going to be the one, again, he's the tallest guy in this class, but I think he'll stand head and shoulders above the rest of the rookies.
I like it, man. I love G Mike's rookie of the year pick too, man.
Yeah, and before I say it, it's a great mention of how you say that it's the situation that you're put in, because this is why I picked Dalton Connect with the Lakers, because my second runner-up was going to be Kel Ware with the Miami Heat. But the only reason I picked Dalton, because the situation that he is with LeBron, and they need scoring efficiency, which is what they were lacking last year from their bench. He's going to come in there and he's going to do that for them. Kel Ware, he's going to do the same thing with the Heat, because we needed a big man that was going to go out there and grab rebounds and be a rim protector. I just think Connect is going to affect the Lakers more than Ware will with the Heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was my favorite player coming out of college, man. The kid can just shoot. He can ball. He's got a little toughness to him as well. He's got a decent size. Not the biggest guy in the world, but for exactly what you're saying, what the Lakers need, they just need someone to score. So I really love that pick, actually. So
he's the perfect fit for a LeBron James system. So
exactly.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's going to be it for the awards. Well, I think we'll just give everybody just as a rundown real quick. We'll each individually pick them real quick. All right, so my MVP is going to be Luka Doncic. My Defensive Player of the Year is going to be Victor Wembanyama. My Rookie of the Year is Zach Edey. My Sixth Man of the Year is Derek Lively Jr. And my Most Improved is going to be Derek White.
All right, so for my MVP, I got SGA. For my DPOY, I've got Victor Wembanyama. For my Most Improved, I got Franz Wagner. Rookie of the Year is going to be Zach Edey. And for my Sixth Man of the Year, I've got Naz Reid.
For my MVP is Luka. For my Defensive Player of the Year is Bam. For my Rookie of the Year is Dalton Connect. Sixth Man of the Year, Naz Reid. And Most Improved Player, Lonzo Ball.
Nice. Great job, guys. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and breeze through this real quick because I don't think this game is going to be anything super crazy, but we have the Thursday night football game, man. We got the We have the Minnesota Vikings and the Los Angeles Rams. Nothing about that looks like Miami at all. I don't know where the hell I got that from.
Down south.
Yeah,
he was looking at my hat. He was looking at the hat.
Maybe that's what it was, man. I have no idea. Anyway, it's just so we're on the same page. It is the Minnesota Vikings and the Los Angeles Rams. I think that the Vikings are going to dominate this game just because of the Rams are just super hurt. It might be a tryout game for Cooper Kupp for another team. If they do decide to make that move, this will be the prove-it point that he actually is healthy. So that'll be interesting to see with no Puka either out there. So it's going to be mainly on him. And Kyron Williams, man, that guy can't stop scoring damn touchdowns for the Rams. But I think Minnesota is just probably, in my opinion, like the third, maybe fourth best team in the league right now, the way they're playing. They're just playing lights out right now. So BC, man, what's your thoughts on this one?
But I mean, they're coming off a loss too against Detroit, so they're going to be
too, man. What a game!
Yeah, so they're going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder. They're going to be playing a little extra pissed off, and like we said, this is a battered and beaten LA Rams team. So I think all the writing's on the wall. I think Minnesota is going to win this one pretty handily.
Yeah, Minnesota is one of the top teams in scoring, while Rams are one of the bottom teams in scoring. The Rams are the worst team in the NFL with passing TDs. Obviously, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp have been out, so that's really tough for them. While the Vikings are the fifth best team in passing TDs. So the Rams are going to have a tough time keeping up with the Vikings when it comes to scoring. And both defenses are pretty good. They're in the middle of the pack of the league. So if the Rams can't keep up with the Vikings scoring, I see the Vikings winning by 2 touchdowns, maybe even 2 touchdowns and a field goal.
Nice. Yeah, the Vikings defense has been a pretty relevant. Wow. I was going to skip that one, man. My mouth is too dry to even try that one, man. The Vikings defense is – what's up?
You're going to say relevant?
Revelation. That was what I was trying to say.
Revelation.
I guess it would be. That's right. Maybe that's not the right word. Anyways, the Vikings defense has been pretty good. Actually, they've been averaging almost, I think, an interception, maybe 2 a game or so, somewhere in there. So they've been playing pretty damn good, actually. So, if we're gonna make picks on this one, I'm gonna go with Minnesota. I think that they're gonna score a lot of points and maybe get an interception for the defense as well.
Yep. Agreed.
We all got the Vikings on that one, baby.
Yeah, we do, man. Vikings
NFL
handily.
Football. Take that money line. Degenerates. $5.
There you go. Skull. All right, gents, we got one more thing we're going to go ahead and get to tonight. We'd be remiss if we didn't actually talk about some of the games from last night. We're just running a little long here. So the Celtics tied the 3-point record last night with 29 threes in one game. If you didn't get a chance to see it, if you ever want to get a chance, it's great shooting, and then it's hilarious. The last 8 minutes of the game, they missed 13 straight threes, just trying to score. The crowd was going crazy. It was quite awesome to see and quite comical to hear the commentators, and everybody was just excited for them to get one more damn three that they couldn't get. As well, last night, the Los Angeles Lakers beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. Cool moment. You have to talk about it. LeBron James got to play with the Sun. I'm glad we got that out the way.
Legendary moment.
That was such a cool moment. Love or hate LeBron, it is absolutely amazing that he is able to.
If you guys hate the fact, I'm sorry, Steve, but if you guys hate the fact that a man is playing with his son in a professional basketball league, you need to go get checked, bro. You need to go get checked.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. The fact that LeBron is still damn good, though, too, man. Like that's another thing for another time or something. But damn, dude, the guy is just playing like he's turning 40 in December, and he's still one of the top players in the league, hands down.
Yep.
Easily.
And still.
Yeah, exactly. Little Bruce Buffin there, man. So we had to bring that up for you guys last night if you guys didn't get a chance to see that. But there also had a major event starting on Friday night, and we got the World Series, baby. It is the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the New York Yankees.
This matchup nobody wanted except George.
This is actually the first time that these two have actually played in a World Series since 1981. I found that
Subway
kind of
Series
interesting.
would have been raw, though. Subway Series would have been raw.
Yeah. I could definitely tell you out of the teams that were left, MLB was hoping that this would happen, and it wasn't going to be the Guardians.
So dissatisfied with this. I hope you're happy, MLB. I hope you're happy. Take your money matchup and leave.
Money.
You know, honestly, I'm okay with this one. I don't like the Yankees, obviously, as a Red Sox fan, but I think it's going to be kind of – I like it whenever it is two marquee teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees. You know, they're probably the two biggest names in the sports. You could throw maybe the Red Sox in the mix in there as well, just for fan base, but they are pretty much the two biggest names in the sports, really. And then you got the two guys, man. You got – on opposite ends, man. You got the National League, you got Shohei Ohtani, and you got Aaron Judge, man. How could you not want to see that when the lights are shining bright, man?
Bro, and let's talk about – imagine if Shohei was able to hit and pitch in the same game, and then he would have hit a homer and gone 10 Ks.
Yep.
I think or hit a homer and then strike out the game-winning last batter of the game.
I think he would be considered the GOAT 100%. Like you would have to put him as the GOAT. Like there would be no more conversation. Right?
Yep.
I thought it was kind of cool the other day. Aaron Judge was giving respect to Shohei as well, and he said, hands down, we all know who the best player of the game is, and it's Shohei.
Yeah.
Like, there's no question about it.
Yeah, There's
no question about it.
It's his league. We're just playing with it. The only thing he needs now is just to put a ring on it, and it's all his.
Yeah, and it's such a young age too, man. He's not old at all. He's probably just starting to hit his prime, you know. So it's pretty amazing, man. So if we're gonna make our picks in this one, I'm pulling for the Dodgers just because of my hatred for the Yankees. But yeah,
I don't like either team. Obviously the Yankees because obviously the rivalry with the Rays, and then the Dodgers because they beat it. Hey. And then Dodgers beat the Rays back in 2020 for the World Series. Man, I'm still bitter. I don't care. I'm bitter Rays fan. But if I had to pick one of these two teams to win, it's going to be the Dodgers. And not because Kevin Kiermaier's on it. That man can kick rocks. I don't care about him. But Shohei Ohtani, like I said, he needs a ring. He deserves a ring. Not only is he the best player in the league, he's just a great guy. So it's like I want to see the face of the league finally get a ring. You know, and again, him and Trout, when they were on the Angels, we always hated seeing them go ringless. So it's like if one of those guys gets a ring, I'm glad it's Shohei.
Agreed.
Yeah, I gotta be biased and go with the Yankees, bro. You know I gotta go with the Yankees. I gotta go with the Yankees, bro. Yeah. But speaking analytically, they both have great hitting, but the Dodgers have just better pitching than the Yankees, man. So if the Dodgers win, I wouldn't be surprised because again, just better pitching.
Dodgers in 6.
7. I think.
Dodgers in 7. If the MLB has made it this far with the matchup they wanted, they're gonna have this go 7.
We'll give one more.
It's just going 7. They're gonna get their money's worth. Dag nabbit.
I'm sticking with
it. Throw down the middle, da. Throw down the middle.
I'm sticking with it. I'm going Dodgers in 6, man. All right, ladies and gents, we went a little long this one, man, but it was still a lot of fun. There was a lot of stuff that happened this week. We're going to get back with you guys on Saturday, and we have a lot of stuff more to talk about then, too. We're going to have some NFL, the major UFC fights coming up, man. We got a lot of stuff to get to. So, we're going to be cutting it out for the night. We appreciate you guys out there listening, watching, commenting, and just sticking around with us and hanging out with us, man. For BC and the boys, I am Steve Brennan, and we are out. Good night.
Peace.